Hey guys, welcome back to the biggest agricultural platform in Namibia known as Nduna Ngombe. Yeah, known as Nduna Ngombe, which means the headman of cattle. My name, of course, Mitchell Mutumba Simata, aka the headman of cattle. I'm drinking out of my horn. I told you guys this is a horn cup. I made it myself from one of my favorite cows. I call this the cup of Thor because in Vikings, or if you watch Vikings or Vikings Valhalla, they always say that when you die and you go up to Valhalla, which is heaven, you go to heaven and you will be fighting till your heart's content and you'll be drinking ale from curved horn cups. So it's a curved one. I got some water in here, nothing major. Firstly, yesterday was my birthday. The Induna Ngombe turned 32. Finally reaching that age. I'm getting older now. I'm getting older. So I turned 32 yesterday, which was the 5th of March. Biggest gift I got was Liverpool annihilating Manchester United 7-0. Biggest win margin we've ever had against Man United. That was a historical victory. And actually, I think that goes for the record books. That's one for the record books. So let's get into today's video, what I want to talk about. Hey, I wrote down some stuff because something was quite interesting. Well, somebody came through and asked me, what advice will I give a new farmer? And then I said, but what would I say to a new farmer? What would I be able to say? What would I be able to do? So I sat down and I thought, like, what advice would I have loved to receive when I joined the agricultural sector? So the first one is love doing your farming. In other words, develop passion. Just the same way as, I would always say, I say this on this platform, I say this on other platforms, that farming is a business. Farming is a business just like entrepreneurship. So you should be willing, to put in the same amount of effort as an entrepreneur. So you must love what you're doing, have a passion for it. If you don't have a passion for it, you might struggle. And then secondly, beside having a passion for it, also be able to adapt to change. Example I can use in entrepreneurship. Today, Amazon and what Amazon was probably back in the day and what it is today are probably two different things. Because the founder and creator of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, even the founder and creator of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, probably had to go in, and also the creator and founder of Tesla, Elon Musk, probably had to go back to the drawing board so many times to redesign and readapt his business concept or his product to meet the needs of market. Same thing with farming. If you are a farmer, you're a dairy farmer, for example. Sorry, there's a pesky fly. If you're a dairy farmer, for example, and let's say summertime people are drinking lots of milk. Wintertime people don't want milk, but they want cream. You might have to always be able to adapt your farming method and your farming style to things like market changes, things like weather patterns, weather patterns and seasonal change. Summer, winter. Winter, maybe want to eat more cheese. Summer, want to drink fresh milk. So you always have to be able to adapt to the change that's happening in the market and the seasonal change happening around you. Another thing is decide on the type of farming you want to do. Very important. Actually, I would say that is very important before passion and everything. But passion, one, two, deciding the type of farming you want to do. Craziest thing is just saying, I want to be a farmer. You need to decide what type of farming it is you're going to do. What type of farming you want to do? Are you going to be a cattle farmer? Are you going to be a livestock farmer? Are you going to be doing horticulture? What type of livestock farming are you going to do? What type of horticulture are you going to do? You need to decide this. This is very important that you decide, so you know once you start, you know what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. So very important. Make the decision before you even buy the farm or before you even set foot on the farm. Decide what type of farming it is and then go for it. Start small. Start small and sell in your local market. So let's say you're doing a chicken farm. You're a chicken farmer, you got broilers and so forth. Rather than already imagining that I want to sell to Pick and Pay or to Spar or to Checkers or to ShopRite, why don't you start off by selling at your local informal markets? Why don't you start off by supplying your local informal traders who are probably in the business of preparing chicken and selling it, or who are in the business of probably reselling the chicken? Start by selling to them. After you start by selling to them your chicken products, your meats, the different chicken products you sell to them, then you start growing outwards. Then from there, and after you have created this line with your informal traders and you're making good money from it, eventually you can actually be like, after time, after you build yourself, because you start small and you keep on building yourself big, big, big. You start off one informal trader, you go to two, you go to three, you go to four, you start having a whole chain of informal traders. Then you go for the informal traders, you go into a small shop, maybe a corner shop, a house shop. From a house shop, you probably go to the guy who runs a braai business, who's probably South Africa say Chisanyama, and then you go from the Chisanyama to the Bright Company and so forth, and these people start producing, and then from there on, with that, with you having created all these links, you finally reach the last level, which is reaching the big retailer. So that's what I would say. Start small, and also don't miss out on opportunities taking your products to farmers markets. Take your products to farmers markets. That's where you can actually get a good business partner. You can get a good deal there. Someone can buy um, your chickens from you there, and then you start building your business. So start small, but always have a vision to one day be in a Wurman in Brock or in a Woolies. But start small. Start with the local small retailers, corner shops, spaza shops, as it's in South Africa. We say corner shops, or what do we call them? The corner shops and what else? I forgot. Yeah, we call them corner shops and Snoopies. Yeah, your local Snoopies, informal traders, the people who are in the business of reselling used chickens, people who have probably bribe companies like, say in South Africa, Shisanyama, in Namibia, a bribe company, they probably bribe chickens like that. Start small, start with those guys, and then from there on, keep building till one day you can have a chicken end up in Woolies. And keep a close eye on your overheads. Overheads are expenses. Always keep a close eye on your overheads, because if your expenses out are bigger than your income, clearly you need to cut down on your expenses so they're not as big as your income. If you're a chicken farmer, your expenses should be chicken feed and equipment you need for your chicken, but you always try to keep it less than what you make. Because if your expenses are higher than what you make from your chicken farming business, you're going to struggle. That's what I always tell people. It's like, I know what's the in thing today. Land Cruiser Bucky. I said this on my friend's live, on Ms. Guguleto's live, saying the Land Cruiser is like the Verpa, it's like the Golf GTI offer for farmers. If your Land Cruiser Bucky is taking out so much money out of your farming business, your farming enterprise, that the income you're getting from a farming enterprise, all of it is just going, you're just pouring, you're taking it, you're taking your income, this is your income, and you're pouring all of it into your expenses. I don't think it's worth the time of even doing it. I would say rather sell the Verpa, or I mean, rather sell the Land Cruiser and buy a cheaper Bucky, buy a much more reasonable Bucky. I don't mean when I'm saying cheap, go for bad quality. I'm saying buy a good quality Bucky, but which is much more reasonable than your Land Cruiser, and then invest all the income and all the money you get back into your farming, to the point that one day your farming is of such, it's such bankable and it's making crazy income that you are able to purchase a Land Cruiser and not even have to feel the pinch of owning 3 or 4 Land Cruisers. So I would say always keep an eye on your overheads. Try to limit your expenses in your farming business. Your income should always be more than your expense. But when your expense are more than your income, you need to sit down and look at it and be like, what's my biggest expense? What's causing me to lose money? Where is all my money going to? And then when you find what that is, try to reduce it, because there's no use keeping it quite high, because you'll be out of business soon. And then the other thing that I also forgot to mention by adapt is, I mentioned it, but always be on the lookout for changes. Farming keeps on changing every day. We have gone to just plowing maize, to actually doing intercropping, to actually doing cover crops. So always be on the lookout for what's the latest and hottest trend out there. I'm not saying jump on every latest and hottest trend, but be on the lookout for it. And don't be don't be anti-change. Change, because even if you look in the business world, there are many big companies that were once upon a time kings of a particular industry, but today they're not anymore that strong, or they have disappeared. cell phone company. I don't want to mention its name, but everybody knows the cell phone company. They ended up being replaced by the iPhone, the Samsung, the Huawei. Once upon a time, the big Scandinavian king of cell phones got replaced because it was unable to change. Where people didn't want to have the keypad anymore, and people wanted to have the touch screen. They were not willing to do that. So always be on the lookout. So my outlook on farming is the same thing as being an entrepreneur, being a Jeff Bezos creating an Amazon. It's the same thing with a farmer creating a farming brand. It takes the same amount of time. You always have to be on the lookout for where the next opportunity is. You can't just be stuck in one way and say, I'm just going to do this. You need to be on the lookout to say, I'm going to try all of these to get somewhere. So that is my outlook, and that's the advice I'd have for a newcomer in this business. And also, yeah, overheads are your expenses. Know what the expenses are, and also educate yourself a bit more on the type of farming. And always be on the lookout for what's the latest and hottest trend. What new regulation might come in, medication and so forth. And yeah, start servicing your small community market before you try to go to a big retailer. Because by doing at least that, you at least build the customer base to actually say this product, this cheese that I'm making, I'm selling it to close to 100 homes in the area that I live in. And also watch shows like watch shows on business, watch Shark Tank, read books on business, because those business philosophies can be pumped back into the agricultural sector. I didn't believe that at the beginning because I thought there were two different things, but the financial world and the agricultural world can have a very good marriage. So watch shows on entrepreneurship, read books on entrepreneurship. I mean, read books on business that can help you. That can help you in agribusiness and can help in every form of business. Because on the end of the day, farming, as I always say, is not just farming. It's a business. There's the business element to it that many farmers need to start adapting and actually learning more about. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say bye for now.